From California reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman from Louisiana is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of House Resolution 1347. This resolution honors the workers who perish on the Deepwater Horizon offshore oil platform off the coast of Louisiana and extends our sincerest condolences to those families. It also recognizes the valiant efforts of emergency response workers and volunteers at the disaster site. I commend my colleague and friend, Congressman Cao, for bringing this important piece of legislation before the House, and I extend my appreciation to him and to the rest of our colleagues in the Louisiana Congressional Delegation for working together to address this disaster. Mr. Speaker, I have come to the House floor a number of times since April 20th, speaking of the ongoing impacts of this tragedy on the Gulf Coast. Today, though, I wish to focus this body's entire attention on those whose lives were lost on that day and those who continue to respond to the crisis. As I listen to my colleagues speak in support of this resolution, my heart is heavy. As with their families and friends, I mourn the loss of those who died aboard the oil platform. On that tragic day, the 11 men, Jason, Aaron, Donald, Stephen, Roy, Carl, Gordon, Blair, Dewey, Shane, and Adam, were on the rig doing what they knew best. The demands of working the rigs, as anyone who lives along the Gulf Coast knows, are great. It is physically demanding work, and it takes loved ones away from their families for long stretches at a time. Our coastline is a working coastline because we are blessed with an abundance of natural resources in the Gulf of Mexico. From fishermen to those working the rigs, each day you can find thousands on the waters laboring to produce these resources and to contribute to the industry and economy of this nation. On April 20th, the 11 men were working to provide the energy that has driven this nation for centuries and that continues to be a force in the economy of my home state of Louisiana. This is dangerous work, and it is our responsibility to ensure that safety precautions are taken and that procedures are strictly followed. The explosion is being investigated by various parties, including congressional committees, and it is our responsibility to ensure the findings are swiftly addressed with new policies to strengthen safety procedures for those working in dangerous and uncertain conditions. You have my word, this will be done. In times of tragedy, this nation has come together as one, and this is especially the case for those along the Gulf Coast. I wish to recognize the extraordinary work of the thousands of volunteers and emergency personnel, from the Red Cross to the U.S. Coast Guard, whose unhesitating response to the call of need best represents the compassion and dedication of this great nation. To the families of the 11 who perished, I realize that nothing my colleagues or I here today can say will return your sons, husbands, and brothers to you. But it is my hope that the gratitude and respect we express on behalf of the citizens of this great nation will provide some comfort to you while you grieve your loss. In closing, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support House Resolution 1347. Thank you, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Louisiana